Hey, what's going on, y'all? It's your girl Lakierra coming to you guys with What We Ignore. On today's episode, I have a lot of guests, and I'm so excited to have all of you. So why don't you guys go around and introduce yourself and what school you guys went to in your major, one by one.
I'll start first. My name is Markila Hall, and I went to Indiana State University, and my major was business.
Okay.
My name is MaLeya Anye. I graduated with a Bachelor's of Science. I was studying physical education, exercise science, and I went to Indiana State.
And hi guys, my name is Myiesha Stewart. I went to IU, Indiana University in Bloomington. My major is actually liberal studies. Well, my major was liberal studies. I graduated with a Bachelor of Science in liberal studies.
Okay, so y'all know I just recently graduated as well from Western Kentucky University with a major in broadcasting and a minor in entrepreneurship. And so we want to have this conversation just about post-grad, just because it's something important. People ignore talking about this and the things that goes on, after graduation. Because, y'all, I just knew I was just going to be at the top once I graduated. Yeah. So we want to keep it real and just talk about things that they don't talk about. So what I want to know is, what have you guys all dealt with, personally, after graduating?
I'll go first. Yeah. Well, first, when I graduated, I was so happy. Like, oh my gosh, relief. Oh my gosh, like, I can't wait. I'm about to be in my bag. Literally, that's what I was thinking. And then it's like, now it's like I'm in an entry-level position for my career. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I missed undergrad. Can I go back in time? Literally, can I go back? Because sometimes it's too much. Like, too much be going on. And I'll be missing it. But then I'm thankful, but then I miss it. Like, honestly. Mm-hmm. So I'm just telling people now they're in undergrad, cherish it. Literally cherish it. Because once you graduated, you graduated. And you can't go back.
There's no going back unless you're a fifth-year senior. But hey,
Yeah. You gotta do what you gotta do. I think one of the things I struggled with is coming back without a job in my field. Mm-hmm. For one, being a woman of color, and you have to sit for a certified exam to actually go into the field and start personal training and stuff like that. So it's difficult. So I had to go back to my regular job, and it's dang, I did not go to school for 4 years to come back and do this. Mm-hmm. So it kind of really took a toll on me. I was getting a little depressed because I'm this is not it for me. So I think just reassurance of just waiting on God and just waiting on, that process to come through, because once it came, I had opportunity after opportunity. So it just takes time.
It definitely does. Patience mm-hmm. When it comes to life after college, because it's same thing what Markila says, so I can relate. I was happy to graduate. It's okay, I did it in 4. Not necessarily that's a brag, but it's it's an accomplishment.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Or say where we came from. Are we all from Evansville? We all from Evansville.
Yeah.
Okay. But
don't claim Evansville.
Who's here for a minute?
Chicago, move it out.
To the imminent here. But no, it's seriously, I don't know. I was happy, but then it's once life hits you fast, right? Yeah. After it's the next week, it's okay, well, what's next? Because you thinking that jobs are going to reach out to you, opportunities are going to reach out to you. No, not at all. So, and it can be stressful. Mm-hmm. It was so stressful, but then like you said, patience. You just got to wait. You got to, how they say, better things come to those who wait. Mm-hmm. I'm a firm, better things comes to those. I believe in that, but better things goes to those who chase. So you have to and go out and get it. You can't be stuck, Patience.
I agree with y'all. So how long did it take y'all to, get y'all's first job? How many months?
Okay, so my program, I interned with them first semester of senior year, but I found them at the end of my junior year. So it's a lot of interviews, Zoom interviews because of COVID, and they're all the way out in New York, and they're stationed in 19 areas right now. So they just got to Indianapolis last year. So I'm at technically their second class. But all the prep that I had to do, like I had to prep with them and I had to pass certain parts with them, and I still have to submit like my official transcripts. And I've been holding off on that just because I'm gonna be having time to go mail them in. But it took 9 months. So I went through that 9 months to like officially get enrolled through grad school, get hired through my grad program, and my grad program helps me find a school. So it's like I had one interview with KIPP Elementary, and I didn't get it. And I was like, okay, that's cool. So my grad school was like, okay, here's another school. And now I'm at Circle City Prep. So it's like, I could accept it or I could decline it. But that whole entire process of interviewing with grad school and the job, it took 9 months throughout my senior year. And it's like, I was determined to get a job before May, so I knew what I was doing, but that's honestly stressful. Like, it was so much stress. Like, I'm trying to prepare for graduation, and it's just like, just so I could be set up and I don't have to wait till after the fact. But it was so much stress on me doing them interviews after class, and you got to submit this for us, you got to submit that for us, and it's just so much because it's a 2-in-1, grad and real life work in one. So it took 9 months though, 9 months in undergrad.
So did you set yourself a year, your goal or your time frame was that 1 year?
Yes. Yep. I gave myself that 1 year, and I officially got hired with Circle City Prep in March. And so good. I got it before May. Thank the Lord. I'm done. Yeah.
So
my journey. Okay, go ahead.
The egg. So when was yours too?
My journey was a little different. I didn't finish college until the end of July. So by July 31st, I was officially a graduate. I had done an internship before then. So from May to June, I was at Pro Rehab interning with them. So I knew the facility. So that's what I kind of went after. But I do realize that I want to go back to school. So just kind of hearing the benefits. Some places don't want to work with students that are trying to go back. So that's kind of set me apart from them. And then it probably took about maybe a couple weeks. And I just kept looking on Indeed and applying different places. And I had actually applied to Progressive Health for an internship. So I guess they seen my application beforehand, and then they decided to give me a call back now. So that's just perfect timing for me, really, and just kind of going with the flow.
Okay. And what about you, Myiesha?
Yeah, I really want to know. No.
Yep, want to know. Keep it real.
It's not. It took me. I would say it took me forever. To me, it took me forever, but to most, it's like, you know. So it took about 6 to 8 months, because you know, once you graduate, you have a choice. You have choices, and you have an option to make. Do you want to move further away, like to a place that you've never been before, or do you want to go back home? Like, I don't know. So like, I took an internship, but the internships meant absolutely nothing. I had to wait, since I had to choose, like, do I want to make this big move on my own? What if I was to make this big move on my own and I'm not successful, you know? So I had to make sure I had landed a stable financial good job, you know, not just let me move to California and I work at McDonald's. That wasn't cutting for me. So I made a decision to come back home. What did I do? I worked a lot of jobs, yo. I'm not gonna tell you where I work because it's embarrassing. You know what? I worked TJ Maxx. I worked in 2 law firms for like 3 weeks. Didn't work out. Went to another law firm. It didn't work out. And then I finally, like, and all that was in like a 6 to 8 month time span. And I finally landed a job at Toyota. But the job that I have now is not what I went to school for. So it took some time. It took some ups and downs. It took some, I can't say the word, but you guys know. It was just hard. It was so hard, but it took time. Less than a year. So like, that's when I asked Markila if she gave herself that year time span. That her goal for, you know. But for me, it took longer than what it should have, or what I felt like it should have.
So I'm going to tell y'all just real quick about my experience, what I'm going through now. So not only did I not graduate on time, it took me 5 years. So y'all, like, I was really, really sick. Like, I lost like a lot of weight and stuff. So I was diagnosed with Crohn's and stuff. And so I was down and out or whatever. I'm like, I'm not going to graduate on time, for one. And another thing was just like, I think I conflicted with myself a lot around that time. And so about time, like it was time for me to graduate, I'm like, I'm ready to graduate. Like, let's get this over with. I had, Myiesha, I tell you all the time, like, I'm like, oh my gosh, like, I'm really like here for a whole nother year, but like nobody understood like why. So I took, that time to myself when I was like, okay, now I know what I need to do and stuff. And I don't think that I was honestly ready. And I think that this is something people need to hear sometimes. To get to where you want to be, there needs to be a process. And so I felt like my process and God's plan was extended for me. And so I still haven't found a job. I'm still, trusting the process. Been having interviews, got more interviews lined up. God be willing, I get a job. Because, you deal with that. So I kept seeing people talk about, post-grad depression. I even seen Markila's post. I've seen somebody else, talking about them, being depressed and post-grad life being, so stressful. And I had just went out to eat. So I was like, I got to have a conversation about this. Everybody keeps talking about it. And so, I know just for myself, I'm like somebody that's physically going through right now. This is something I think is good for younger generations to know. Like, sometimes you're not going to get that job right after college, especially with, being African American and also having a name like Lakierra. So, it's hard when you don't have also those resources and you're not making those connections. And so if you're not making those connections, networking and stuff, so like as for myself, I was part of NABJ, and as well as making those connections, and not saying just because you're making those connections you'll get a job or whatever instantly, because look at the boat that I'm in now. And a lot of jobs are on freezing, and so that's another thing. And I'm trying to go into the media, producing. It's all about what you're going into to get to where you want to be. And so I think that we don't stress that enough. So to hear how long it took y'all, like Myiesha said, it took her 6 to 8 months. That's crazy because you want that now. Like, I went to school for this amount of time, whatever, stressed myself out. I want my job now. So another thing,
what moved me, fly me out. I should be able to start next week.
No, for real. I definitely agree with you on that, because you don't want to just be going to school for all that time and not have a job. And I started getting scared because I was working at my alumni association and people are like, yeah, I went to broadcasting, I didn't go into that field, yada yada. I'm like,
Can't listen to it.
Yeah.
You cannot listen to it. I listened to a podcast this week and he was like, you cannot listen to people that's never swam before. You got to be willing to go into the deep end, because those people that are talking to you, they've never been down there. They don't know what it's about.
Yeah.
So don't listen to that.
I definitely agree with y'all. And so it's just interesting just to hear how long it took you guys. So do you feel that you guys are accomplished to where you guys are at, or is there more goals that you guys have for yourself?
Yes, there are definitely more goals that I have for myself, because kindergarten, that's the grade that I teach, is definitely entry level. Like, it's the easiest of the easiest. It's before pre-K. I mean, pre-K is easy, but that's not technically at schools. Those are like at facilities. So it's like, I'm trying to, what am I trying to, I'm trying to climb up the ladder. That's what I'm trying to do. So it's like, kindergarten is the beginning. I'm going to see how it goes, but because everything literally does happen for a reason. But if I feel like I can take on more, like, that was easy, I'm going to jump up to try to do 4th grade or 5th grade. The only thing is that the program that I'm in with grad school as well, I'm doing tests all for K through 6. So it's like, after I graduate, I would have to do another test for like K through 6 and 6 through 8. Those two overlap because in some places elementary is K-6 and other places it's K-5. So it's like I would have to do more testing and pass more intense exams if I want to do 6th through 8th or 9th through 12th. That's the only problem. So if I could bounce around and climb my way up the ladder in elementary, of course, because I really want to get to math. And then once I get to math and I conquer teaching math, then I want to take on that like financial literacy aspect, or because I want to combine my passion, teaching and finance, combine them into one. That's what I want to do. And I got that passion because in the Scott College of Business, like I networked hard junior year, really trying to find, I wanted to be a financial advisor. And as I was networking for some of the companies, I was just like, this is not what I want to do. What they were trying to make me do is like, I would have to do, even after I've graduated, they were trying to make me do years of training, passing intense exams, then the rates of like financial advisors, young people, just any color, it's like slim to none. Like financial advisors are usually older Caucasian males. So me being Black and a female as a financial advisor at 23 is honestly just not even realistic. And that just started to register more with me, especially when I'm like, well, I shouldn't even trip about this because I honestly don't want to do it, but there is a way I can still connect finance into my life. I just got to build up to it now. So who knows when that will be, like, honestly, who knows when I will be able to be a financial literacy professor. And I may change my goals. I may do a small business, something finance related, mentoring kids or something, like just combining the two. So I have a lot of mini goals, and it's like a tree. It ain't one path because it can go this way, it can go that way, just many different ways.
Yeah.
So what about you, MaLeya?
She is definitely right. I have more goals. I want to go back to school. I want to be a physical therapist. So I have a few prereqs to get done this semester and next semester at Ivy Tech. So I'm not done. I'm so not done. Like, this is just the beginning. This job I have is an opportunity to open some doors and, like you said, network and get those recommendations that I need. So I'm going to take the opportunity and just see it through.
And what about you, Myiesha?
Yeah, so I don't know I think, Kira, I think you know, but I don't know about Markila and MaLeya or viewers. I don't know, but like, so I had a scholarship for August 2020, the year 2020, to go to NYU to get my master's for, to go to NYU to get my master's, but being my latest,
Joy, bundle of joy.
Yes.
the words to say it, but my latest bundle of joy and my situation, that will not happen. I do, honestly, in my honest opinion, I do feel accomplished. Am I upset that it's happening right now? Not necessarily upset, but of course I have my questions. It's like, why now? Like, why when I had this plan to go and further this? Because you guys know I wanted to end up in the White House. Most definitely wanted to end up in the White House. I was supposed to work on the Black Caucus, and that can't happen because I'm pregnant. I'm like about to give birth in 2 months. So it's just, so I'm not upset. I have more goals, or I did have more goals. But so as far as like, do I want to go back to school now in my current state or in my current condition? Right now, I think I'm just going with the flow, and like literally just going with the flow. If it happens, it happens. If it doesn't, it doesn't. That isn't to say that this is where I'm stopping. I'm not stopping here. I need a master's. I need a doctor. I want a doctorate behind my name, in front of my name. I don't, bachelor's, okay, cool. That's just the beginning. It's just literally just the beginning. But yeah, I do. But as far as like, do I have a plan, like a set agenda? No, I have a plan, but not a set agenda. I'm just taking it literally day by day now. I have no choice but to take it day by day now,
Yeah.
So, yes.
So what I want to stress to you is that, just because you're pregnant, don't let that stop you, girl. Like, I have so many family members that had kids at 16 and, they're still going back to school. They're getting a master's, a doctorate, because now that you have a child in place, I don't want you to think that you can't make those goals, because now you have somebody that's looking up to you. And so now, like, you gotta grind. regardless. And so no matter when you do it at your own pace or whatever. It just takes time, whatever. I'm not gonna tell you like everybody's story that I know, but people that are, went back to school 10 years later, but at the end of the day, it's just the fact that, you went back and you know what, and you look at it like this too. You didn't get pregnant at 16, you got pregnant after you got your degree. So that's one big, that's a big accomplishment. Because some people, they don't get to make it that far, So,
even if it was, I would. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, you're fine. Go ahead.
No, so I was gonna like even if I was 16 or like now 23, I'm not ashamed. Don't get me wrong. I'm not ashamed. I'm not embarrassed. I'm just, and I'm not even upset. It's just, why now?
Yeah.
And I try not to question. I try not to question his timing and what he does. But it's like, I was on a path. I was on a mission. I was literally on a mission. Like the School of Philosophy was calling my name. I had a fellowship. It's like, why? But hey, my actions, I know. So I can't really sit here and like ponder on the why, because I know why. I'm out here being fast, but it's just like philosophy. It was calling my name. Like it was literally calling my name. That opportunity fell in my lap and I like messed it up. I ruined it. So it's not just I don't know how to say it. I don't know how to say it. I don't know how to explain it, but you guys understand. So it's like necessarily like, I'm not embarrassed. I'm not ashamed. It's just wrong timing. That's what it is. Wrong timing is what it is.
Hey, and like I mentioned, that's how I felt when I had to, do an additional year and stuff like that. I mean, I had a girl, y'all, that was there for additional 5 years. Not additional 5 years. She was there for 5 years, and she made a statement to me like, oh, wow, I couldn't imagine being here for 5 years. And in front of me and other people, and I was like, but you were here for 5 years. What do you mean? You can't imagine you being here, having to come here for another additional year. And so, people like that aren't uplifting or, motivating you to get to where you want to be, you have to let them go. Because y'all, that's another thing or whatever. And with post-grad that I want to talk about is the people that you surround yourself with during this time in your life is so important. I cut off some of my best friends just because I knew that they weren't on the level or going to be on the path that I was trying to get to. I seen the things that they were doing, and I'm like, I can't get with that and the negativity and stuff. So I don't know, have you guys, dealt with, dealing with that, like, is it just me? Or you guys have to cut people off on the way to the path too? Y'all ain't gotta like go into detail and say such to say.
I would say during freshman year, transitioning from college, and I still got a whole lot of friends at home because we just left, and it's like I would start to lose my friends back home, and like now freshman year, I question like, them are my friends, like why am I losing them? But then as a junior year, I understood why I was losing them. Like they're not on the same path as you. Like we're completely different. We live in two completely different lives.
Yeah.
So it's like, I would say I lost those people freshman and sophomore year, and it did hurt me because I'm like, these are my people. I grew up with them. But it's just like, not everyone is meant to be a part of your journey. Like God's long-term plan. So it wasn't junior year, junior year. I don't think so. But freshman and sophomore year, it was pretty much my people back home. And then even there's people from back home that go to ISU, like lost some of them friends too, but it's just like it all worked out in God's favor at the end of the story. Like how Myiesha feels like right now, like why right now? That's how I thought freshman year, but maybe in a year, in a month, 6 months, 6 years, she'll understand her why. Yeah, literally, like you'll understand, like, oh my God, and then you'll be thanking him, like, oh my gosh, thank you for doing that. Because at the time, it's like you're hurt. Like, why am I losing my people? Like, especially if they're close to you. But sometimes your people that you think are good for you, they're not. So God will keep on showing you like why they're not good for you until you really wake up.
Yeah. I think a big lesson for me during that transition, like Markila was talking about, with people, is just trying to come up out of my feelings about it all, because people are having babies, people, moving on, moving out of town, and all this different stuff. So really just kind of stepping back and being like, we are grown. We're getting grown now. We're not in high school no more. We can't hang out. And sometimes I can't always call, I'm working. So I think just like she said, separating between where I'm at now and where they are, and then just kind of bringing a balance. And if we can't make a balance, then I love you still, but, gotta go.
And what about you, Myiesha?
No, okay. I'm kidding. No, but friends. Y'all know. I don't really like to. I don't know. What was the question?
So basically, it was just about when you basically transition into going to college and to where you are now, dealing with losing friends and stuff. How did that work with you now? Like, how did that help you get to where you are now?
So with that, I think that has more of a self individuality when it comes to me and friends. So like Markila said, I remember when I first got into college, I've lost, you guys know, I've lost my best friend for 11 years. And it's not even like, any friend that I lose, I never look at it as on no jealousy or hateful type. It's just, I look at it as, or I try to look at it as, it just wasn't meant to be. Like, everybody serves a purpose in your life. Everybody serves a purpose. Your purposes have been fulfilled. It is now time for you to but it's like, I don't know. Like, I was super emotional. Back then, I cared. I was emotional. I was, well, why don't you want to be my friend anymore? Or why is it like, let's try and work this. What is it? What is it that I did wrong as a friend? What is it that I can do better? But now it's like, because I have a good sense of individuality and who I am and what I bring to the table, what I bring to the friendship, it's like, okay, you're not really happy for me. Like, I was just last week, remember when I was telling you about the little friend situation, how I can see through it, that you're not really, that friend wasn't really happy for me. And it's like, okay, cool, by all means. I don't expect you to be all in, but I also don't expect for you to hate me for it or hate, just treat me bad, treat me poorly. I don't need that in my life. I don't need that. I don't need the negativity. I don't need that. And see, what I see now is what I couldn't see back then. So that's why it's so much easier for me to just be like, okay, cool. Like, no ill will, no bad blood. It's just, and I'm still gonna root for you. I still want you to eat, like, you can eat, just not with me. Like, I've been done bad so many times, crazy. But it's like, okay, cool. It's all love. Just over there, So I don't know. With friends,
I think it comes with like time, growth, and elevation, because people that I surround myself with back in the day, I'm like, girl, like, now, like, I feel like I'm on a different path. And not to say that those people, aren't doing anything with themselves, but be honest, some of them aren't. And so I see why God didn't allow them to continue to be in my life. Because I mean, y'all, like, one thing about me, people might not think that I am, but I'm super friendly. And so when I had I had a lot of best friends, and it come with me having all those best friends. Shut up, Myiesha. It came with trust issues, and as well as just seeing the things that that they did to me. I mean, I'm gonna just share a quick story, and I'll move on to the next topic. So I had a friend, y'all. I'm like, okay, this ain't gonna work out. So I had mamas always know best. So I tried to bring them both together for a birthday of mine. But this one friend was just so very envy and jealous about the way that I interact with my other friend. But I'm like, you don't know what they've been through. You don't know why I act the way that I do with that person. And it was just crazy because, I mean, I felt like I was interacting with both of them. And I'm like, at the time, like, yo, we 21. Like,
Yeah.
this is something that I would be expecting to deal with when I was in, like, middle school. And not even that. So it was just like, you know, you have to be cautious of people that envy, you know, you being successful, or the ones that never compliment you on anything that you do, whatever. Like, I had people like, oh, okay, you going to grad school? Yeah, I am. Like, you know, it's crazy to see people, you know, demeanor change over time when they see that you're out here grinding. And so that's another thing that I think people don't talk about with post-grad, is that you are going to lose some of those friends, and it's okay, you know, because I think people deal with that all the time. They're like, oh my gosh, well, we've been friends for this amount of time. Like, now I'm at the point in my life, I'm like, I don't care. Like, okay. Like, you're going to do all that. Let's move on with our lives. Let's just go separate ways. And another thing that I want to know is, what was you guys' mental state like after graduating? Because I know you guys talked about, you know, trying to find jobs, but like, how were you guys like feeling just in general?
Well, I was really happy because I did already have a job. So honestly, like, COVID, I say there's many blessings during COVID. I'll be working like little jobs, like I've worked pretty much everywhere, but I've worked little jobs ever since I was 15. So it's like the fact that where I had been working, I was working 2 jobs on campus, and I had to sign this form just so I could get extra hours because I was no longer working at Texas Roadhouse in my one job on campus. I ended up getting another job on campus. But both COVID happened, both of them ended. So it was like I was done. I was chilling. I was getting unemployment. So, and I was thankful. I was thankful for that because I'm like, God, thank you. Because this unemployment is more than what my 2 on campus jobs combined was making. And I was very grateful for that because there's times back in Evansville, I worked them jobs for $7.25, $7.50, $8, knowing that I deserved more, but it's just I needed a job. So I looked as COVID is a blessing in disguise, and I was well rested from May 8th up until July 13th, and that's when I started training.
Okay. And so what about you, MaLeya?
I would say my mental state, it was kind of all over the place because I was excited at first, especially when we got to come home due to COVID and stuff. But it got rough whenever I'm trying to finish my undergrad and then having to take that summer semester because I needed this internship to be done, and I had like one more credit to get done. So it was stressful, to say the least. And I'm working and I'm helping at home. And we got COVID and going on, and things are shutting down. So it was really rough for me. And like I was saying about, you know, trying to find something else, like a job or something in my field, that got depressing because I'm like, now I've done all this work and I don't see no benefit from it. And then people are looking at me and they're like, well, didn't she go to school? Why is she still here? So, I mean, just kind of learning how to not listen to those people and learning how to cope and go through life. Just transitioning back home, it was a little rough for me. So.
And what about you, Myiesha?
Well, I was happy too. Like at first, I was happy when I was like, okay, I just graduated. Prices went up. Prices up. But then, like I came home. I was in that process where I was looking for a job. It started to get stressful because it's like I don't know. I'm the type of person, or at least I was that type of person who would worry about or like what people would think about me. Like she just said, you went to college. What are you doing here? And don't you have a degree? It's like, yeah, I have a degree, but dang, things take time. Like, it's not easy. But so I always like worry, like my church folk, oh my gosh, they stayed on my behind. And you just graduated? Yes, I did, ma'am. Because what are you doing? I'm looking, I'm searching, I'm trusting the process. It was just, that became stressful because you have everybody on your back behind you, blowing you. Like, what are you gonna do? What's next? And it's like, let me breathe, okay? But I was happy, like through it all. My mental state, I was happy. Like, I wasn't ashamed with where I was in my process. It was just, family, church folk, and then you have people who don't even know. Like, you have people looking in on the outside, and they don't even know what's going on or what's going on, on the inside. And it's just like, chill, like, chill. It's not that easy. It's not that easy.
So I'm dealing with that right now firsthand. So I've had people ask me, tell me that I'm not focused, all types of stuff. And it's crazy because I'm like, I feel like I was doing everything I'm supposed to be doing. And so to hear people tell me like I'm not focused, I'm like, okay, I'm about to go back and get my second degree and stuff like that. And I feel like I'm doing the things that I need to do to get to where I need to be. So I'm like, what do you mean that I'm not focused? It's like baffling. So I know that when I get that job, extra emphasis on will. So it's gonna be that much greater just because people are asking, what are you doing? Like, I even have people like, okay, like, cause I'm in a relationship, and so everybody's like, okay, your boyfriend got a job, so what you do? Like, literally ask me, what are you doing? So I'm like, okay, dang, like just getting hit with the questions after graduation. It was just something that I didn't expect. I'm like, I wish somebody told me this, like that people were going to be curious or to know. And it's crazy because you never really notice who's actually watching you. You're coming, and it's crazy. I didn't notice this until I graduated. I'm like, oh, okay, like people hit me up, glad to see you doing good with your life, this and that, and yada yada. I'm like y'all really been watching me. Like, I appreciate it. Have y'all dealt with that? Like,
yes. Somebody.
Worry about your daughter. Don't worry about me.
What's she doing?
I have people that made fun of me in middle school and high school because how I was like, I love school. I'm not even gonna lie. They used to talk about, look at you, you're a nerd, da da da. They be in my inbox, my Facebook Messenger. Markila, I always knew you'd be so successful. I am so proud of you. And it's just like, I'm just gonna take it because that was so many years ago. But I remember when you guys used to pick on me because I like school, and I still to this day, I do like school. And that just, my mom just tells me, you have a passion for education, whether it's being in school or teaching in school. Look, like, I never in a million years I thought I would be a teacher, but I honestly, I just love school. And if I can help uplift people, but it's just so many people, you never really know who's watching. Like, you've been watching me since 9th grade and 8th grade, but you used to make fun of me. Okay, I'll take it.
Or they'll say, well, how'd you do it? And I'm like, you just got to be determined. You got to know what you want. But how did you do it? Well, you got to go first. We got to get that application rolling first. But the other thing was like, people, when I was going through the summer program, they were like, well, didn't she already graduate? Why is she still taking classes? Because it's not over. It's just the beginning. It's the icing on the cake. We not done.
But people that's never been to college, they don't get that, especially if you're going a different route. Like, I've heard people that's going into nursing, they're taking the Excel exam. So people that aren't educated, they're not going to know. They're going to have so many questions. They're going to throw so much shade. And what did you say about Myiesha? I see you over there.
Girl. I'm trying to be more professional, like, so I'm gonna just, hold off.
Oh, okay. Well, we ain't gonna have you speak on it. But so another thing is, I know coming into college, there were things that I wasn't aware of. Like, I knew firsthand, y'all, like, okay, I'm going to school, whatever. I knew I didn't want to work at McDonald's for the rest of my life. I knew I didn't want to be a bum because me and MaLeya, we worked at McDonald's. cut up back in the day. So
No.
I was like, this ain't, my life goals in making that transition for me to leave and stuff, and then seeing some of my friends, stay back in Evansville where I resided at the time. And so just it was quite different because I was like only person that was going to WKU. Like everybody I really talked to was going to IU, so I was kind of sad that I wasn't going to IU and they were going there. But I was like, this is a new beginning or whatever. And I went to those because I've talked to people that didn't even know that there's early start, programs for them to go to before school starts. And I did that, and I met, the minorities since I went to a PWI. It's 7 o'clock. Sorry, y'all, that's my time management. So just with that was really cool because I got to see all the Black people. Then once we transition, once school started, I see, the white people and things that they were saying, like, okay, like, once school and you're in the classes, it's not going to be like this and yada, yada, these hands on hands. And so being able to meet those other people, it was interesting because they did this thing, y'all, where like you look to your left and your right and they're like, one of you guys aren't going to be here. When I tell you, maybe about 90% of them didn't graduate. And I was like the only one out of my whole crew that I hung out with that graduated. I'm like, wow, like these statistics are high. Like, that's crazy. So I don't know, like, what was you guys' experience like when you guys like first got to school, especially being Black and an African-American female?
I would say, first off, oh my gosh, I loved ISU, but I'm not even gonna lie, I spent my first weekend down in IU with my friends there to celebrate my birthday because, like you said, that's where our people was. Like literally, I remember seeing Myiesha. So I went to go do that first, and I had already had my car packed for ISU, so it was no Evansville, IU, Evansville, Terre Haute. Nope, it was Evansville, ISU, and then I moved into college. My car was loaded, but it was I really liked it. The only thing that I didn't like, what I struggled with that first semester, so it's like I have to work. Like I have to work. If I don't work, I won't have anything. My phone bill won't be paid. I won't have none of that. So I couldn't find a job the first semester, and that was like a humbling experience for me because in Evansville, I always got a job. My personality wins me jobs. So the thing is, like, I got hired at Hollister. Come to find out, she hired about 30, literally small Hollister, smaller than Evansville's Hollister. She hired 30 students, like 16 high school students to like 21. Those were our ages. And she gave me 1 day. I had worked there for 3 months and I finally got 1 day. I'm not showing up for that 3-hour shift. No, absolutely not. So then I got hired at Insomnia Cookies. Then they never started me. So I'm just like, what's going on? Like, why can't I get a job? So what I would do is my boss, I had worked at Foot Locker for 3.5 years for that company. I would drive back home on the weekends just so I could work. And then I ended up finding out on ISU campus that they're not really big on hiring freshmen because we're babies, literally. So I found out one way they would hire you though, if you work for this place called Sodexo. They have like generic Starbucks. It's like ISU Starbucks, but the company is called Sodexo. So they will hire freshmen if you like have pretty much open day availability. So what I did was second semester is I put all my classes on Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and then I worked all Tuesday, Thursday, because I knew that's what I needed to get a job. And when I tell you, I did not like it. And that was the only bad experience of my freshman year. First semester, couldn't find a good job. Second semester, got me a job, but my schedule was so tiring. I'm in class 10 a.m., 11 a.m., 12 a.m., 1 a.m., 2 a.m. And that was the hardest transition, like realizing that we're in Terre Haute where it's not a whole lot of Black people. And then they don't want to hire us freshmen because, I mean, a lot of us just aren't responsible. Let's just be honest. A lot of us are not going to want to wake up early to go to work. We want to have fun. And then a lot of us don't come back. So I understand completely why they don't want to hire us. And after that year, I always worked on campus in a different position, mentoring, and I was peaches and cream. But the first year is just I need to work. And another problem that I face, like with people back home and then people at school. Now, the people at ISU, they literally thought I was on the track team because of how I was shaped. So it's like, are you on the track team? I'm like, no, they're giving me, like, okay, that's good. That's a compliment. But then the people back home, so you ain't running track. So you just going up, you just at school working and working and going to school. No, I'm not running track because I don't have time to do that, for one. And for two, that's their lives. The people that are athletes, like, they don't have jobs. And that's why I had to keep on stressing the people back home, like, you're not going to pay for me to go to college. Like, you're not paying. Like, I have to work. You don't know what background I come from, but I can't. No, I'm sorry, I'm not running college. You're not even my mom or my dad, so move on. But that's just what I experienced. That was hard to deal with because so many people just thought, like at ISU, like I said, that's a good thing. But back home, like, you're really not up there doing college. You could have got you a scholarship. Like, I know what I could have did, but it's just not realistic for me to be waking up at 5 a.m. and 6 a.m. and then go to 2-a-day practice because that's what they have to do. Yeah. And then traveling to all these meetings, like, I have to work. So
I definitely agree with you on the working thing, girl. I just want to say, look, my first semester I didn't work. I was fortunate enough just because my grandparents gave me money and my parents helped me just starting out. But and I was loving it while and having a ball. I mean, I was so focused, but once I had to work that second semester and the rest of the college, I was like, wait, this is a little different. I'm not getting that stack coming in how it was to go out and party and stuff. So I was like really butthurt because, I'm like, dang, like, we just gonna stop the incoming checks, like, rolling. Like, I was hurt. And so Mom's like, you done got the feel for it, but now you on your own, like, you grown now. So I had worked at like Burger Studio. Everybody had the jokes, and it was like next to Popeyes on the campus at the time. And I was just like, towards the end of the semester, it was finals, y'all. Like, I quit like 2 weeks in because I said, I gotta focus. I can't do this. Like, I had to. And I don't think people talk about like those things, like juggling school and going to work. Because then after that, I did do a lot of on-campus jobs. But them on-campus jobs, they don't pay nothing. Like, they can't even barely pay a bill. And so people don't realize it. They think like, oh, I'm gonna be okay. I have, good set in stone budgeting skills. And then when they get there, like,
it's not enough.
Yeah. So you work
too.
You said what?
Go ahead, Myiesha.
No, wait, I was just about to say, I'm still listening. I'm about to blow this candle out because the wax is near its end. I don't want to spill over, but I'm still listening. I'll be 1 second, literally.
Okay. But no, so tell me just about your experience for you when you came in to ISU.
When I came in, it was a little different. So I had to go into Sanderson, which is pretty much like a nursing. If you were trying to seek a bachelor's degree in science, that's where we pretty much stayed. So majority was white, Caucasian. So there was probably like almost only a handful of us African-American students. And I had this one advisor for my nursing, because that's what I went into school for at first. And she sat us down and she's like, if you don't have this GPA, if you're not doing this, that, and the third, you're not going to be in nursing school. And I'm like, okay. So that was like a wake-up call. But then it got frustrating because it's like you're trying to live up to that. Like, you're trying to get there to that point. And sometimes that's not always the case, or that may not always be the track for you. But those were like I said, those were the same people that she said I wasn't going to be with that I ended up with anyways. But also, to add on to like started working and stuff, I worked at McDonald's again. I tried to do that for a little bit, but then I was like, y'all, I'm like, no. I was getting up, walking to work on the weekends, coming back in that nasty uniform, had to walk through the commons. That's embarrassing.
Man.
So I was like, So finally, I moved my job. I work for Trilogy Health Campus, so I moved that job up there where I was to Indiana State, and I was working there. But what became hard there was I'm like the only African American working up there, so they are culture shocked at that point, and it's just learning, not being ashamed of who I am, and just trying to embrace what I have. So I wore the braids, and I'm not picking up this different accent or tone to fit with y'all, and I don't have to come here and conversate and do all that. I'm not doing that. So it was a really big transition, but working in school is hard. I don't know who said it wasn't, because I was struggling to say the least. But yeah, it's definitely challenging. It was a good experience though.
Girl, we all was.
I know.
So Myiesha, what was your experience like, coming in?
So I'll be honest, my experience wasn't challenging at all, because you guys know.
Nice. I'm just playing.
Not because, remember, I did the GRIPS program. So we went to college that summer, so a semester early. That summer counted as a semester, and we went there when the campus wasn't really full. It was just the group students, and it was like 500 students. It wasn't hard. It wasn't challenging. It wasn't, I guess, because I was excited. I was excited to get away. I was happy to get away from home, get away from Evansville, but then to also start this new life here. Like, it was just, okay, it's like, okay, I'm ready. Or at least I thought I was ready. So I have absolutely no complaints as far as my transition from high school to college. But I don't know, because you guys know about the groups program, don't you?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so yeah, so I did the group, so I can't, it wasn't challenging at all, because the full campus wasn't there. We went there that summer early. It was just us students, and they the purpose of that program was to prepare us for when the college actually opens, and so that we would basically be a step ahead. We'd know where all of our classes were. We would know how to shuttle on campus, and you just, so my experience wasn't hard at all. That transition.
Okay. Well, I'm glad to hear yours was successful. No, I'm just playing.
It was a break.
You worked though, didn't you?
Oh, girl, I tore them jobs up in Bloomington. They hate me. What? I worked so many jobs. It's crazy. Didn't last. Didn't survive a day at some of them. I was like, you want me to do this? I'm out. So, broke. Best believe I was broke, but I'm not, I don't know. And then, Markila, she'd come visit me her first week, actually, in that experience. She came up to in-state. You stayed with me, didn't you?
Yep.
So my senior year, she stayed with me, and I was working at the Forest. I was working at Forest. It's like the round Starbucks. We had pasta. We had a pizza joint. We had a foreign joint. It was nice. It was lit. I made good money. Wait, what? Compared to what I was making when we was working at Foot Locker, I was making some good money. I was like, okay. I bought some shoes, bought me some little hair. Look, I was taking care of my cell phone bill was paid. It was cool. It was cool. But some I didn't last. Could not last. I tore jobs up, so I don't even want to talk about the jobs in Bloomington.
So what is 3 things that you guys would tell, incoming freshmen, just from your personal experience, things that they should know when coming in?
I would say number 1, network. Your networking is crucial. If I would have waited to my senior year to realize that I don't want to be a financial advisor because I'm just now trying to get an internship through them, I would have been screwed. Mm-hmm. So network early. There are some people they get internship sophomore year, and the internship is really a great eye opener because it lets you know do I want to do this or do I not want to do this? And some of my interviews, just in the interview, I wouldn't even get to the internship. Oh, I don't want to do this. Markila's not doing that. So definitely network. The number 2 thing I would say is to stay focused, like be aligned with your goals. You are not your friend. Your friend is not you. Mm-hmm. You are not that senior that you admire. You are not your mentor. You are not, none of them people, and their journey is not your journey. So literally stay aligned to you. Like everybody's path is different. Everyone's path is different. And then the third thing I would say is don't ever let anyone tell you can't do something. My second semester freshman year, and I mean this for anybody in the whole entire building, people that don't go to ISU, they just be there. I mean everybody in Terre Haute. Don't let nobody tell you can't do nothing, because freshman year, my professor for college algebra, so ISU, for people that are trying to do anything that involves numbers, you have to do like take a math 035 course, and it's just for credit, and it's no GPA. And some people don't take it. You have to do a pre-assessment math test. Some people don't even take the math assessment seriously, so they go to math 035 first, then you go to math 115. Well, I just went straight to math 115, but when I got in the class, the first thing they let you know is the average time people take this class is 3 times. And I already told myself, well, I'm getting out on the first time, so I don't care.
Yeah.
But there was a point in time where I struggled. Like I was struggling in this class because I'm like, dang, this college algebra, they said it's just like algebra 2, and no, it wasn't just like no high school algebra 2. So I don't know why they lied. But it was really hard. And it was a point in time where like, that was second semester, mind you, when I was put all my classes on one schedule, and then I'm working on Tuesday, and I put all my classes on one schedule. So it's just hard trying to balance that. And my professor said to me during his office hours, because yes, I take advantage of office hours, I need all that time. He said to me, yeah, it's okay to take the class again. And I said, okay, because I wasn't really grasping what he was saying. And you needed like a 45 to pass the class. You need a 45 on the exam, because there are times where people will have an A or A minus or B or B plus in that class, and they fail the exam, so they fail the class. Wow. Yeah, and it's just crucial, because some people get a 44 or 43. Well, you're retaking the class. We don't care what your grade is. And it's like, ugh. But I ended up with a B minus, and I passed that class. And I went to snap on him so bad, because don't you ever underestimate me, because I'm in office hours struggling. You right, I'm struggling. That's what these office hours are for. This course is hard. But it's like, I still remember that. He was a good professor all the way up until that comment. Well, he probably still was a good professor, but that just touched me. And even females, don't let them tell you can't do this. Don't ever let nobody steal your shine, like ever. I competed in a pageant. I got really, really sick. I had the flu, and it was terrible. And there's like, once the pageant was over, I'm up on stage like, oh my gosh, it's really over. Like, oh my gosh, I just did that. And I started to hyperventilate. And there's people in the crowd, it was girls laughing at me. Or there other people worried on me, like, is she okay? There was girls laughing at me. And then they said I won, and the girls stopped laughing. So it was like literally people there to just rain on your parade, just be negative. But you got to rise above that. And you got to know what your end goal is. Like, just stay true to you. Stay true to you.
Before I have one of y'all talk again, let me grab my charger. So, because it's about to
grab mine too. Oh, goodness.
Yeah, it's taking everything in me not to grab this oat milk cream pot right here.
Girl, look, I got one more question for y'all, and you can eat up. Take over.
Yeah. Okay, we have to hold it. Yeah, it's gonna hold it.
Okay. Oh dang. Y'all just got something on my stand. I got some Italian ice on it. Okay. Okay. So all right, I'll just edit that part out. So MaLeya, so what is some advice that you would give to incoming freshmen? What are 3 things?
The first thing I would say to them is do not procrastinate. I am the queen of procrastination and it never works. um, set, as corny as it sounds, do Google Calendar or a physical planner, something you can see every day or something you can write on your wall every day, because it does work. It does. If I can have it come to my phone, I'm like, oh yeah, I need to do this before I go to that meeting, or knock this out before I go to bed, or something like that. Like that helps me. So I had to just kind of get on the ball with that and just get my stuff done, because basically that's what college comes down to at the end of the day: getting the work turned in on time and just getting it in there. And then to add on to Markila stuff, just with the networking and getting to know your professors. I have so many professors in my program that know me, know my face, know my name. And if I had a problem, like, it was easy to come to them, easy to talk to. There was times where I was breaking down and stressed out, you know, and they were able to give me that advice and that encouragement to be like, you know, chill for one, because we still got all this time left. I know it don't seem like it, but we do. We have plenty of time, plenty of assignments to get there. So it's really about building those relationships, because to this day, I had my advisor and I had the department chair as my references for when I was applying to my jobs. So that kind of like said a lot about me, and for them to be able to come back and speak highly of me. So that really made a difference. And then the last thing I would say is, don't be afraid to go to college. I don't know why so many people are like, it's the money, I don't want to do all that work. To find something that you're passionate about. I mean, I was the girl in school that did not like to dress out. I'm not going to gym and sweating this perm out. I'm not doing it. But to be in a profession, like, that's all we do. That's all we do is train people, get people back to their quality of life. Like, I love it. I wouldn't trade for nothing. So really, it's about going to school and finding what you're passionate about, and then leaving knowing you're going to wake up every day doing something you love. Or you may not. You may choose a different path. Like you said, we all got different avenues to go through. So it's a great experience, and I wouldn't trade it for nothing.
Okay. That's some good advice too. And then Myiesha, what else would you say?
So
Top 3.
have a lot to say, because these are things that I wish people would have told me when I was it's not a lot, but it's a lot. So my first point is, you know, Markila says, stay focused. And also, you have to create this sense of self-individuality. You have to know who you are. If you're gonna do it for you. It's okay to be scared, but just do it. Like, and this is what that right there, that is okay to be scared part. I wish people would have told me going into college, because I wasn't scared of go to college. It was just I was scared to do stuff. I would be scared to network. I would be scared to go to this event, to get into this organization, or to, you know, I would be scared. I would be scared to walk up to my professor, and it's okay to be scared, but just do it, you know, like just. And of course, there comes a times where you're going to have to eventually get over that fear. But like my freshman year, my first couple of times doing it, I was so scared, y'all. So scared. That was my first point. My second point, something that I would tell incoming freshmen, trust the process, because you have a plan, you have an agenda, you want to follow it, but you just have to, there's going to be setbacks, things going to happen, life's going to happen. So just trust that process, trust the mechanics, trust the team, trust in God. Like, know that just because it doesn't happen right away, that doesn't mean that he doesn't have something planned for you right here later on down the line, next week or something. And my last point or advice that I would tell incoming freshmen, I don't know if you guys are going to get this, but you have to stimulate the dome first before you can capture the spirit. So actually, I want to ask you guys a question. What does that mean to you guys?
Say it one more time.
Say it again.
It's a quote. You have to stimulate the dome first before you can capture the spirit.
I feel like you have to educate yourself before you get to where you need to be. Is that what you're saying? I don't know. Like, is this something spiritual? I'm a little.
No, it's you know, like that's not bad at all. It's how you take it. You know.
I don't like your mind games you be playing.
I feel like you said, okay, can you repeat it one more time?
Yeah. You have to stimulate the dome first. You have to stimulate your dome first before you can capture spirit. What does that mean to you?
I feel like that means, heck, I feel like it means what I went through in college. Like, literally, you have to pick your brain. Like, you have to work at your brain. You have to get your brain flowing, because your high school mindset compared to your college mindset is completely different. So when you get that ding, 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 oh, my head is stimulating. Oh, now I'm starting to realize what they're talking about. And then it's like, stimulating that it comes with good and bad. Good and bad happens in stimulating that. And when I would say I went through a really, really big transition, my junior year, when I just grew with God, because like I became like just a better person. Like I evolved because he showed me like, this is what you used to be. Like, not saying I was a bad person, but I had a smart mouth. So I had to fix that, because that just wasn't going to get me nowhere. Like I'm not going to make it in a field like with the mouth that I had, the comeback that I would have to people. Like, you gotta humble yourself. Sometimes it's just best to shut up, like just be quiet. And yeah, it was definitely a spiritual awakening for me in college, and now it's just like I love it. I love who he made me be, and it's because he had to get to me right here, then he got to me right here, and I changed. That's what I feel like.
And that's basically what I said.
Yeah. And I feel like everything they said, it's all in one. So just educating yourself, just getting yourself to a place where you know where you want to go, you know where you want to be, and then taking that and putting that into everyday life. So if that means exiting out friends, if that means taking a job right now that you may not want, or, just trying to build connections and things like that of that nature. So I think that's really it.
Oh, did she get the point on that?
Huh?
Did she get the point on that for you?
No, all you guys, I was just, this isn't...
Girl, okay.
How you take it. Like, you have to stimulate the dome first before you can capture the spirit. Like, to some, like, or in relation to this, in this topic, as far as, how, okay, so for instance, they'll be like, college isn't for everyone. Okay, well, how do you know?
If you never been.
It's one of those.
Yeah.
You have to... I don't want to go.
They get mad. They get frustrated when you make that statement. When people say that college isn't for everyone. So that's a good question. I like that.
Yeah.
What do y'all think about that? Because I think what Myiesha said, how do you know until you try it or whatever? I think we're all capable of it. I think it's just you have to put your mind to.
Literally. Thank you. Don't.
Yeah.
You are.
No, but it's all about how you take it.
Yeah, and then the very last thing I want to just talk to you guys about is, why do you think people, struggle with post-grad after they graduate? And then also, what advice would you give to them?
I think people struggle with post-grad really because of everything that we've talked about. Post-grad depression comes from numerous things, but one of those main things is, I'm gonna break it down into three segments into what I think it is. One, we miss undergrad tremendously. Like, we miss that. We miss those parties. We miss like, oh, I'm gonna go to the dorm. I'm gonna go to the comments. I'm gonna go to Myiesha's job. I'm gonna go to IU this weekend. Like, we gonna go to some probates. We gonna do this. This is until more sessions. Like, that is so fun. It is so fun, and it's just like, oh my gosh, like. Now that I've started, now that I've graduated, of course I can go back and visit, but it's just like my mindset, I don't want to be a Terre Hautian. I don't want to be. So it makes me miss it. Like, it truly makes me miss it. But that is one thing. It's like we miss the fun in undergrad life. And then the second reason I would say is because like post-grad depression, we're expecting a job. We're literally expecting a job. Like, okay, I just worked my butt off, these somewhere between 4 to 6 years. I'm ready for my bag, and that's not everyone's path. And what I want to say is we need to normalize that. We need to normalize that you may not get a job until 6 months later. You may not get a job until a year later. So in our community, especially the Black community, and it be coming from people of all angles, but it's like we need to normalize like standing up for ourselves and saying like it's a journey. The time will come. The time will come. The Lord's timing is perfect. We need to give them short snippet answers that they can't. You can't say nothing to that. Like even the church people. When the time is right, the Lord will make it happen, in the discussion. That's why I don't have a job. Mm-hmm. And we need to normalize it because there's so many people. Like I put that as my Facebook status, not even for my experience, because I hear them say it to so many other people, and that's offensive. Because I wish somebody would say that to me. You gonna hear me in the most respectful way. In the most respectful way, you're going to hear my mouth. But the third reason I would say is because, what was my third reason? Oh, because they still want to live that college atmosphere. There are some people, believe it or not, they prolong their graduation because they still want to. Like I'm gonna do one class. I'm gonna do 2 classes. You know what? I don't even want to go to grad school for real, but I'm gonna go to grad school in my college town because it's fun and I still get to live it in a different way. So it's just like people can't say nothing because I really graduated undergrad, but I'm still working a job on campus. I'm still, involved on campus, still performing at sycamore sessions, and I'm 26. Can't nobody say nothing to me because I graduated. Can't nobody.
Girl, we all know them people.
Yeah, them at every school. So, them 3 reasons. I think that's really what it is, like post-grad. Because I even have it. Like with my job, I still have it. Because it's like, dang, smack in the face reality. I'm blessed, but really it is a smack in the face.
Yeah. I would say it's about the same. Why people struggle is those expectations, and not only that, like social media, it's everywhere. You see people, and I had to get myself to the point, like Markila was doing good. She was posting her congratulations, you just graduated, and I'm like, let me go on and do my congratulations because my time is coming. So I'm not gonna block my blessings. Let me tell you, girls, you did that because you did. But yeah, just coming back off of that. This is where I should be type of reality. Like even right now, like I'm blessed to be home. I don't have to pay rent somewhere else or try to have to hurry up and come up with some money and working all these crazy hours. So I'm blessed and I need to always remember that. So that's kind of like that self-reassurance, just making sure I'm okay with what I have right now and then know that my time is coming somewhere down the road. And then, like you said, like those jobs, I mean, I was fortunate enough to have one, but the money situation, I feel like they could have paid me more, but at the same time, who am I to say, what's coming? So, you just got to get those expectations in order and then everything else will fall in line.
It'll be worth it when you got that experience.
Yeah.
When you get that experience, you can start asking for that money, which you worth.
Yeah.
What do you have to say, Myiesha?
Of why I think most people struggle with post-grad?
Yeah, go ahead, be shady.
Never shady. No, but something that two things that I want to talk about or want to touch on is that, like I said earlier, Markila said earlier, some people are like really, really stuck. You have those people, I'm not even gonna say it because she already said it. Those people who just linger around, who ponder on being there just because, some love the South, some love the, hey, that was shady. Let me stop. But really what is just take that next step. Like everybody wants to be successful, but nobody want to put the work in. So it's all about, let's not be lazy, okay? Let's not be lazy. that's one thing I want to talk about. And another thing is that most people don't touch on when it comes to why we struggle after once we graduate is because you have these companies, you have these people like employers and people who look at like what school you went to versus like, you know, like an IU versus ISU or WKU. They look at what school you went to. So of course, like I was telling Lakierra, somebody who went to IU would get picked over somebody who went to WKU. But
I ain't worried about her. No.
that was me being shady, but you guys get it. So it's like a university versus a background thing, or like your environment where you came from versus where you're going. So like I came from for instance, I came from Evansville versus someone else who came from New York or who came from Boston, and then where we're going afterwards. So a black and white thing or a male and female struggles as well that most people don't touch on. And it's just, so for instance, okay, I'm gonna tell you guys about a time, a law firm here. I got chosen, but the only reason why I got chosen is because they wanted to try out this new diversity thing. Had it not been for that, I wouldn't have got picked versus a white male who had got picked. Not to mention, my credentials are way, like, this isn't me tooting my own horn, but I'm gonna toot that motherfucker. My credentials were way above. Way above, but because he was a white male, he was just, it would have been an automatic for him. Automatic. So those are struggles that I think most people, you know, and then like what she talked about earlier, you know, depression is a thing as well. But I still feel as though when people are in that mindset, it's just take that step. Like, that's all you have to do. Just take that, you know, like you already made it past the finish line. You graduated. You're there. Like, just take that next step. You know, that's it. That's all.
One thing I would just say, you know, just for incoming freshmen, don't let anybody conflict with anything that you want for yourself and your goals. Just because I've seen a lot of people, you know, let things get to them and they weren't able to accomplish those goals and graduate. And everybody wants to, you know, be successful. And so I would say, of course, like you guys mentioned, networking, that's important. But go the extra mile, especially being, you know, women of color. You know, reach out to those people, follow up with them, send them your resume, take every, you know, initial step that you need to, you know, get to where you want to be after you graduate. And it takes time because, I mean, the boat that I'm in. However, there's going to be people that are going to be on some bummy activities. And there's going to be people, like you guys mentioned, at every school that are going to be still or hanging around or still wanting to party. Like, y'all still young and stuff. And I'm like, you know, I'm grown. Like, we can party. There's nothing wrong with party. But there's limits to this, and there's some things I'm not going to do. I'm not going to drive 6 hours back to WKU to party and stuff. And I think I noticed a lot with me, like towards that last semester, I'm like, I'm not gonna be partying like that or whatever. Like, I'm trying to get this degree and stuff like that. Like, I was kind of over the partying. I mean, I did it, you know, freshman, sophomore year and a little bit of junior year. And I'm like, okay, like, that was cool during that time. And so you have to learn how to, I think, balance between school and partying. There's people that think that they got to be at every party and they don't know how to do school and party. And so it's okay that you don't go to every party, because I wasn't at every party. Like, that wasn't, I don't know what you look at me like that for, because I wasn't. Maybe now freshman year I felt like it. But after that I'm like, no. Just because as you grow, you see like what's important to you. And then the last thing that I just want to say is, you know, post-grad, it's real. Don't think that it's not. because I know that people on social media, for instance, everybody's like, I got this job, became a nurse, I got paid this much off the back, and yada yada. That's not everybody's, path. Everybody has a different way to get to where they want to be. And I know that people want to keep up with the Joneses and be on the next level and this and then yada yada or whatever. Because I'm like, shoot, I just graduated. Where my job at? This and that. I'm seeing everybody post about their job, yada yada.
Yeah.
Whatever. So it's everything will come in due time, whether it be with school, those internships, and whether it be with getting to that degree. But please don't be 26, still there. Make sure that you're doing everything diligently and at your pace. And so those are just my last thoughts. Any other comments or anything that you guys got to say before we, end this discussion?
I will add just one little thing to the people that are going through school right now, or even thinking about college. It is okay to fail. It is okay, because I went through anatomy. Anatomy is like one of the first classes that you have to go through, and it is hard. I didn't get it through high school, so when I did take the class, I was struggling. I went to the office hours and everything, and then I didn't pass the class, but then I had to take it another time. So now I'm like a little upset, but that second time, there was so much grind. There was so much effort. I was putting in the extra hours, so you cannot be afraid to fail. You cannot be afraid to go home. I knew a girl that came back the next year and she killed it. She would own it. You just got to make sure you know what you want. So do not be afraid. That's like one of the biggest things for me. It really changed my life. It turned me around. So that'll be it for me.
Yeah, you're going to fail some classes, y'all. Not everybody.
Yeah, not everybody.
But, that you will fail. Because I had a professor that was, she was giving me a hard time off the dome. I was like, my name is Lakierra. She was like, oh, you're going into broadcast? I need you to project your voice. First day, everybody told me about her. I was just like, oh my gosh. She's like, if you want to go into news, this and that, yada, yada, you got to do this, you got to do that, or whatever. I'm going to tell y'all a quick story. Before I had her my junior year again one more time. And so this time it was for broadcasting and law. I'm like, I'm going into a law class or whatever. Oh my gosh, she's about to rip me apart. So first day, y'all, I had her in that class again. She was like, you go by Lakierra. What I said. You had me freshman year. You see me all the time in the hallways. I've been in this department since my freshman year. I called her out, but I was like, moving on. So this is what I want to do in my life, because we have to introduce ourselves, say where we want to be and stuff. I'm like, you're not gonna play me, but I passed that class though. I sure did with the B. I was happy. But so Markila, any final statements from you?
I would say back to the name thing, when you said that your name could not get you a job, and that is so true. I've seen some reports and studies on that, and I never thought about that. I already knew being Black, yes, and then being a woman. My end of the year senior research paper, I looked up the success rate of African Americans in college, and why are we not graduating? What are our just so many factors play into that. And then it's it broke down charts from the 1950s. It's white male get paid the highest, white Asian American males, they right under them. Then it's Black men, white women, black women, and Hispanics, we at the bottom. Us two, we at the bottom of the bottom. I'm like, dang. And it just shows the pay gaps. We're doing the same work.
Girl.
And then it's it showed the unemployment rates too, because that was one of my factors. I looked up the unemployment rates, and it's just a lot of us, they not hiring us. Like nope, her name is too difficult and stuff like that. And what I will say is when you do get into that field, what I'm learning is being an educator, and it's like over half my staff is Black and the other half is white. And my principal, she is white, but correct them every time they say your name wrong.
Mm-hmm.
And the fact that she said that, it just stood out to me so much because 96% of my students are Black, and we have a very small percentage of white students, and like around the same for Hispanics. But every time they say your name wrong, your name is crucial. Yep. And it's just like, if you let them run over your name, they have no respect for you. They say your name wrong every day. They don't care about you. So the fact that we went over that in training, and it's like, dang, like I never thought about that. But it's just like, if they take the time out to, get your name right and get to know you, get to meet you, they care about you. But they mess it up every time, they don't give a dang about you. Yeah. So every time they mess it up, you correct them every single time.
Definitely. And what about you, Myiesha?
Hungry. No. Okay. Remember earlier you had asked a question about friends, and I had to take note of this. Remember we had talked about friends. You asked that question about friends. How did we handle it? This ties into one of those, something, an advice that I would tell to incoming freshmen or just to anybody dealing with college and the pros and cons of it. What did I say? Dang, where did it go?
We're talking about friends.
No, because I got some notes. Because I'm forgetful. I'm super forgetful. Some people, you guys are gonna have those friends. You're gonna run into those people that want to see you do good, and they just don't want to see you do better than them. But then you also have those friends, like those close friends that you came in with, but you didn't leave. Those type of friends that like praise you in public and bash you in private. No. They'll praise you in private. I said it wrong. They'll praise you in private, but bash you in public. Like, girl, but just behind closed doors, just the other day, you was congratulating me, was telling me good job and this and this and that. And now all of a sudden it's, I don't think you should do this, or I think you should do that. And that right there. So my advice to the incoming people, you're gonna lose friends. You're gonna lose people who you thought was there for you, who you thought like really supported you. It's not support. That's them, like, that is a way of them telling you, hey, I don't want you to do this because I know that you're gonna be better than me. And it's not really just a hate or jealous thing. Sometimes you have to take it for what it is. And I know it's going to be hard I'm telling you, I'm saying this because it was hard for me. I had those friends and I tried to like put it on the back burner. I was like, oh, that's my friend. She wouldn't do me like that. No, she'll do you like that. They will do you like that. To them seeing you do good and them not really wanting you to do good. So that was my last like remark type. I'm hungry, guys. I'm hungry.
Okay, you finna eat. I do appreciate you guys, coming out talking about this. This was so important. I'm glad we had a nice long conversation and talked about everything that I felt that was important for people to know. You guys all brought up, really good point of views from, failing, it's okay to fail classes, to, the networking, and as well as losing friends. And so I enjoyed this conversation, and thank you guys for coming on with me.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you.